is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
Japan is often called the land of the rising sun. The Far East sees the beginning of the day long before the rest of the world, and so it feels appropriate that we begin our new season here. It's a brand new day, it's a brand new championship, the scoring is reset to 0, and everyone gets another opportunity to prove what they're made of. We'll find out who's improved in the offseason as we get ready to watch round 1 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. And you'll see it all live here on the global SimRacing channel and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth covering the GTP class is Sean Crackers Ambrose. I'll be covering the GTOs, and behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad. He's using cameras provided, of course, by Dougie Beard. Sean, Suzuka has made plenty of appearances here on GSRC, with it being a pretty popular track on the iRacing service, but why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about this place?
Joe, the GSRC jet is burning up the fuel today, baby. Out of Silverstone and all the way here to Suzuka City, Japan. You know, they built the track back in the early 60s. It opened in 1962 as a test track for Honda. Yeah, Honda. And, you know, one of the great things about this track is it's got a variety of corner types. 2 high-speed portions, a little bit of a figure-8 layout, left and right turns. It make it a perfect test on this track for these drivers today. Hosted Formula One back in 63 and 64 before they went to Fuji. They modified this track several times over the years. In 1983, they put in the Casio Triangle and even added the Degner Curve and didn't add it, but they modified the Degner Curve into the 2 corners that we have today. Listen, this is the historic venue for the Japanese Grand Prix, but today we get the Kamel GT series out here and we let them run around and see who's going to be best in the Nissan and the Audi. But the best way to get an idea what it's like to get around the 17 turns on this 5.8 kilometer, 3.6 mile track is to go on board the GSRC Nissan for a lap around Suzuka.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC Nissan, so let's do a lap around Suzuka. Down the front stretch, you're going to be climbing to around 170 miles an hour, so the entry to turn 1 will require incredible precision. Slow it as it's turning and get it to bite through turn 2, which acts as a continuous corner. Switch sides quickly, and then you're chucked into the S's. The cornering speed of this machine means you'll be carrying quite a bit of momentum, but that doesn't mean you can get lax on the racing line. Keeping up your rhythm and setting up for each subsequent corner will be critical through here, or else you'll lose time hand over fist. Once you come off the final left-hander, you'll be flying through Dunlop, which is a frighteningly fast, flat-out sweeper. Hug the car off to the left and then spot your brake marker for Degner 1. You've got to be very aggressive on that inside curve, get it settled, and blow it up even more for Degner 2. As you fly under the bridge, the acceleration of this beast makes it a very short burst to the hairpin. That kinked entry will test the brake because you can get on the brakes very, very late. Try to square off the exit, but be careful about getting back onto the power. The turbo lag means you won't feel it until it hits the higher revs, and those low gear corners are gonna be touchy. You've got a little breather with turn 12, which is another gentle curve where you won't have to lift. However, make sure to keep the car off to the right to line up for Spoon. The first apex here has a quick entry with a little squirt in the middle of the turn. The second apex is much slower and much more important to nail. Coming off of here will require excellent throttle control to get the most out of the long backstretch. The sooner you're on the gas, the more straight line speed you'll extract. 130R will be flat out, but I still wouldn't recommend trying it too wide. Drift the car off to the left and then try to get it slowed up for the Casio Triangle, where you're likely to see some overtakes. Once again, this is going to be a real test of who has the best throttle control. The turbo is so powerful that drivers will be feathering it all the way around the final right-hand bend. The fastest cars out of here will be the ones making the most out of their right foot. Hopefully you kept it all together and have now finished a lap around Suzuka.
There you see a lap around here in Japan at Suzuka Circuit. Well, qualifying is on its way as the drivers have taken out to the track to try and get some times in to find their place on the grid. But as we wait for that, let's take a look at last season's championship and how that all rung out. Now, Fabian Gerbert took the win over Clayton McLeod. It was a scant 60 points between them. And then a little bit farther down, Nicholas Schneider was able to edge out Fabian Hugeluk, but not by a whole lot. You can see Fabian jumped up to fourth at the end, demoting Luis Emerton down. And there's your top five in the prototype standings. They also have an amateur championship for the prototypes. It is the GTP Lights. John Keefe came away with it this time, beating Michelle Rugenbrink. Martin Krejcik, who is usually up there in the AM Championship, just didn't have the speed this season. Johnny Bell comes behind him, only 1 point back there in fourth. And then Radar Anderson, a newcomer to this series, finds himself within the top five. Nice to see him coming in with some good results. We also have the Audis with two classes there competing. Sean, what was the championship like at the end of the season?
Yeah, let's see things how things shook out for the Audis there. Obviously, Billy Raiola with a big season. He wins it. The Finnish driver had a great one and finishes 18 points ahead of Rob Olenek from the U.S. Jamie Hall with a third-place run last season. Phil in and around the lake, he finishes just 3 points out of the top three there. Riley Thompson, who started off like gangbusters at the beginning of the season, had a bit of a tail off in the middle and then came on strong late to finish in the top five. So great job by him. Let's look at the GTU standings here real quick and see where that wound up. Hideki Koibitso takes that championship. So we have had two Finns in the Audi. So you see a common thread there, Joe. Matthew Jete just 5 points behind him. It was a strong season for him. And, well, maybe something better for him this season. We'll see. As you can see there, the two Americans, Shanahan and Rolfe, were way back, but do complete our GTU standings. Joe, I'm looking forward to such an exciting season here.
I am as well. And Finnish drivers preferring a four-wheel drive Audi? Surely you jest, Sean. Let's take a look at what this race has in store for anybody tuning into the iRacing Esports Network not familiar. As we keep mentioning, first race of the season. With this being official racing, they're going to have 12 rounds. Now, both classes will get 2 drops this season, so they will be able to make a few mistakes and try and get away with it, but you want to have mostly a consistent season. Today's race is the sprint format. They will have a few that are longer than these 40 minutes. Because of that, you should not expect any pit stops today. That's because with the open setups, the drivers can tweak them to their liking, so nobody should really have a need for it. Now, there's the scoring down below, 25 points for a win. They pay down to 20th, so it is important to finish as high as you can, especially in those Audis, which seems to have a very big field out there today, more than 20 of them. So we're going to have a few drivers, Sean, that are going to go home disappointed.
Yeah, I think so, Joe. The numbers are strong today. Is it 44 cars in total? But the Audis outnumbering the Nissans right now, but about 4 or 5 of them. So big Audi field today. And well, we talked a little bit here before we got started, Joe, about whether or not traffic would be a factor today. It won't be for a little bit. The Nissans will have a chance to get out and run for a while, but this track, a little bit more forgiving when it comes to traffic. There will be some problem areas that they'll need to look out for. Certainly the hairpin in turn 11 and maybe even down in the spoon curve. That certainly could be a spot for any driver to get in trouble. Side-by-side racing generally doesn't work out well between classes down there, so we'll see. And, of course, getting out of spoon, very, very important to set yourself up down the backstretch and, handling the backside of this course as you head into 200R and into the hairpin.
On screen, we're watching a fan favorite, Timu Toika, who won the GT 500, the off-season exhibition race at Road America. He currently sits in 8th, and as his qualifying finishes, he jumps up to 5th. This is the sort of speed we're starting to get used to seeing from Timu, who has certainly found himself up in the thick of it. So now we switch over to one of our GTO drivers, Joni Kaijinen, another Finn, very fond of this car, very fast in this car. doesn't have a whole lot of time left. It's a very long lap in these GTO cars, but I think he's going to have just enough to squeak this second one in. Out of 130R and coming up to break for the Casio Triangle. As we said, currently sitting in 5th position there, Joni Kajanen. Let's see what he can get as he crosses the line. Second lap, 0.2 faster, but it's not going to improve him out of 5th.
Yeah, a little surprising there on the qualifying effort there for Joni. I would have expected to see him maybe up at the front, Joe. So, all right. Well, that's still not too bad, but qualifying has just absolutely gone away with us now. Less than 45 seconds to go. Several new drivers we're seeing today, Joe.
Yeah, a lot of them. Trevor Schneider, one of those that we're not used to seeing. One that we are used to that actually is coming off of a win in a different series. Clayton McLeod is crossing the line right now, and he also improves his time, but stays in 11th. I believe he did not jump up at all from what I saw. So Clayton going to have a lot harder time trying to win here than he was in the Williams F1 car moments ago over in Silverstone.
He was on the same flight with me, Joe. We sat right next to each other. We were trading notes, getting ready for this one.
And that is going to be it as the clock ticks down. So our grid is now set. Let's go through our starting order. Fabian Gerber going to be starting on the pole. That's a usual sight. Same thing with Justin Albrecht, but we'll have to see if that front row will give better results for Justin. Did not have a good GT 500 race. Antti Lepisto is going to be starting in 3rd with Michael Houghton in 4th. Ardo Iamaki will be P5 at the drop of the green with Timo Toika starting in 6th. Mark Pickford, who has come over from the Lotus 79, finds he likes the Nissan. He'll start 7th. Tobias Gerber, the brother of Fabian, will be in 8th. Gabriel Lanini starts P9 with Luis Emerton, who tends to not qualify as high, but races better. Expect him to rise from that 10th spot. Clayton McLeod, as we said, with a poor qualifying today, starting 11th. Ben Laughter starts in 12th. He'll be followed by David Miller in 13th. Klaus Peterson is in 14th, and Pablo Suarez, P15. John Keefe starts in the 16th spot. Then it's going to be Mike Kopak in 17th. 18th will be Dave Peterson. Rounding out our field is going to be Johnny Bell in 19th, and without a lap time, Matthias Kuldogger will not show up on our qualifying list here until the end, but we'll start at the tail of the Nissan field.
Okay, Joe, I'm up, and it's a big Audi field to get through. Rob Olenek on the pole. Jamie Hall, going to sit right there next to him on row 11. There's Jamie Hall. Villarola starting there on row 11. Phil in and around the lake there with a qualifying effort there on row 12. Joni Kajanen, Ove Trengrade going to start 6th today. Riley Thompson alongside him there will start 7th. Nicholas Bucanos back with us this season. He's starting 8th. Andrea Albertinelli, I should get that right. I am Italian. Andrea Albertinelli is going to start 9th. 10th for Reed Miller. Matthew Jette 11th. 12th for Michel de Jong. Milan Arnozzi is with us today. He's starting 13th. Trevor Snyder, there's a new name, 14th. Hideki Koivisto, 15th. Iskren Pondev, 16th. Aki Carvanen, there we go, 17th. 18th for Dexter Castro. Richard Keogh, 19th. Taylor Burris in 20th. 21st for Michael Jeans. Josh Lambert, 22nd, 23rd. Michael Haynes and Cedric Poyle will start 24th.
And that brings us right to the drop of the green. It is a huge field today. Justin Albrecht gets a little bit left in the dust as Fabian Gerber gets a nice jump. The green flag waves. Antti Lepisto following in line, taking a look to the inside already for 2nd place. He's seeing if he can dispose of the front row starter. He might just have it as he's got the inside through turn 2. It's going to switch back, and just as they settle it, we'll go to the Audis.
Yeah, Joe, they're already scrambling up front. We've already seen a change for position as Jamie Hall has gone to the front in the number 9. He's dropped Rob Olenek to 2nd, and it's behind Olenek. Philip Blake hot on his tail. That's a good start by the Audis. They've already kind of gone line astern through most of the field here. Everybody dropping in line, trying to get this first lap in.
Great start by everybody considering how large of a field this is. Unusually large for this series. as we watch them work their way through the S's. Already the Nissans are hitting the hairpin. Fabian Gerber starting to stretch away since Justin Albrecht had to waste his time fending off Antti Lepisto. And already the gap up to 1 second. Going through Spoon now and onto the long backstretch. Very important to get the power down out of here. Let's see if anybody manages to get a run and forces a 2 wide situation through the infamous 130R.
Yeah, and it's flat out for the Nissans here through 130R. It's a much different story for the Audis.
A lot less grip cornering for sure for those GTO cars. Oh, and actually we need to go to second place for that because Rob Olenek almost lost out to Phil Lake.
Yeah, Rob got in a little wide to Spoon there, and Phil tried to expose that error and, had to back out of it. Didn't want to wreck the car here this early, so wiser heads prevail there. And Phil's getting a mirror full of Villaruola right now, though. Ruola's really, really been on a charge since he lost that spot to Phil.
Drastically different than what we see in the GTP field. The GTO cars, look at this train. This is all the way back. Is this the 9th position? 8th position. My goodness, they're close. Getting a bit of a battle between Lake and Olenek, though. This is again for second place. Lake can look around the outside of turn 1, side by side, very marginal through this corner. Lake is off into the AstroTurf, but somehow keeps the car pointed forward, and he has to give up the ghost.
Oh, Anti's having trouble up there, Joe.
And that was kicked off by a self-made error out of Degner, too. Don't really... it looks like we're going to replay of it. Lost about 3 positions, it looks like. Oof. Rear started to come around even before he hit the curb, and I'm sure that didn't help at all. That puts him down into 6th position behind Arto Yamaki, his fellow Finn. This does promote Timu Toika up into the podium, though. Going from 6th to 3rd in the first 2 laps. Not a bad showing. We're getting used to that. Oh, and Klaus Peterson with a problem. Let's see what happened here. This looks like it was out of Spoon. Another self-made error. Sean, the track looks a little slippery.
Joe, it does. I mean, it's only 77 degrees on track. It's mostly cloudy, so I don't know. A bit of humidity in the air, that could be part of it. A great battle going on in the Audis right now, though. At 5th, Joni Kajanen trying to hold off Obe Trengrade and our old friend Riley Thompson.
Yeah, this is for 5th place between these 3. Joni leading that train there, you see, up in front with the Commodore machine. Trengrade under threat as Riley Thompson gets very close under braking, but doesn't make a dive, is deciding to stay in line.
Joe, just behind them, Nicholas Mukanos just gets by Michel de Jong. Did it in the Casio Triangle.
It looks like Michel's going to try and come back at him. They're going to cut a big hole in the air for Michel as they come up to turn 1. Look at that, diving deep under braking into 1, but just not quite late enough on the binder, so Mukanos holds on for now. Oh. And Mukanos actually looking ahead of himself. He's not looking in his mirrors. Reed Miller better watch out. Wow. Aggressive stuff here at the start. Don't often see passes in the S's, and as Reed Miller gets offline, that might facilitate it. Here comes Mukanos trying to go the long way around a Dunlop, and I think he might actually do it, Sean. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. It's a hard way around. Here comes De Jong. Watch out. He's trying to get his nose in there. Oh, and he makes contact. De Jong makes the contact.
And then
Miller
De Jong
is
gets
off.
Oh, wow. Milan Arnozzi, a little bit of contact trying to stay out of the back of him. That was a mess heading into the Degners.
I don't think that's the textbook description of how you pull that off there. Just a little bit of contact was enough to send him around, and then he gets tipped. And boom, straight into the barrier. That's a lot of damage on that Audi. Obviously took the quick toe in.
Yep. Hey, if you want to spin out in the Degners, you want to spin to the inside because that outside does not have room. As we jump up to our leader, Fabian Gerber, the gap has not been spreading that far. Justin Albrecht holding it about a second and a half. That number 21 machine, the yellow car that you see in second, has managed one win so far this season, if I recall correctly. Or am I thinking of a podium here, Sean? I'm trying to look through my notes here, but I know Justin's had at least one good result, but not as many as his pace deserves.
Yeah, that's true. He's one of our hard luck drivers here in the Kamel GT series. At least it was hard luck for him last season. Battle for second in the Audis right now going on. It's Phil Lake trying to get around Rob Olenek. He's looking to his inside. Oh, they made contact there.
Boy, Rob Olenek says, here's the door, have it in your face, as Phil Lake has to get on the blinders hard to avoid contact there. Let's watch it. Lake. It looks like, unfortunately, not going to be able to get that replay, but can tell you that that was incredibly close to spinning out our second place car now as they work their way up to the Degners. Much better single file for these guys, unlike the mid-pack last lap through. It is now a train of 4 compared to the 8 that we saw. Hall, still your leader. Olenek second, Lake third, and Ruola fourth.
Yeah, it's funny. We've had a couple of retirements in the Audis, Joe, but they're fighting. I mean, all the way back in 19th, they're fighting right now. Josh Lambert trying to hold off Cedric Poyle, Michael James, Andrea Albertinelli. And now I put them on screen, and they all drive off track.
There's some creative lines through the Degner corners. That's going to allow Michael Jeans to edge his way into 20th spot in class. Albert and Elliott not able to capitalize, although he's still battling with Hoyle, who's got the inside of the hairpin. I think he's going to have that spot safe.
Well, that's an awful-looking familiar car that Jeans has got there.
I think he's a teammate to Taylor.
Taylor Burris? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right.
Taylor, obviously one of our commentators, so he's, I guess, handed off the GSRC paint to a few of his teammates there. Meanwhile, we've had quite a battle happening far down in the Nissans as well. Johnny Bell and Matthias Goldagger are very close together, and they actually were in, I think it was either Peterson or either Klaus Peterson or Dave Peterson, take your pick, ahead or behind them. They had a 3-wide situation last time through into the Casio chicane. So it doesn't matter what position, Sean, these guys are willing to fight hard to get anything they can.
Yes, they are, Joe. Ole's on board right here. Too much curb, obviously.
Yeah, Matthias got to watch out with how he sticks his nose in there.
All right, now listen, P2 just erupted in the GTOs. Phil Lake pulls off the move, gets around Rob Olenek. Rob a little wide on the turn again, and Phil took advantage of that time, but now Rob's riding him hard. I mean, he's right up on the bumper. Both drivers in new liveries this season.
Yeah, I like Olenek's new livery. That is a snazzy looking car. Gunning it off of the hairpin. They have not lost touch despite the battling with our leader, Jamie Hall. Hall faring much better here than he did in the Lotus 49 not long earlier this morning. Up into Spoon they go. Hall giving himself just a little breathing room, we should say, though. Not under attack at the moment. Already, Sean, we are 10 minutes into this race. We're a quarter of the way through.
Hey, you know what? And one of the names, when we were calling the lineup, one of the names caught me off guard. I didn't realize he was here. Dexter Castro has managed to gain a few spots. He's got himself up to 14th. A little surprised to see him here today, but certainly a welcome addition to the field. I think he's got more in him here. It's 1.6 behind Trevor Snyder, and so far the car's been pretty smooth around the track.
Oh, Mark Pickford apparently still adjusting to this car. The turbo lag bit him hard out of the hairpin. Watch this, Sean. The Suriro Gato Nero put a big black stripe on the ground where you don't want it.
Looks like he might have gotten a little bit lucky with the damage there, Joe. The car doesn't look like it took too much of it.
It does send him down the order. He's now 13th, unfortunately. And it looks like they're starting to catch the Audi traffic.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a lot of intermingling going on right now.
Fabian Gerber up to about 1.8 now as he streaks away from Albrecht. It's Albrecht who has to worry because Teemu Toika is scything through quite nicely. In fact, he's bringing Michael Houghton along with him as well.
Joe, I support Fat Teemu.
Has his fan base showed up in the chat?
There's a couple of them in the chat, but not the legion of fans aren't here. I'm a little disappointed. They need to hurry up.
All right, well, look at the train that they've got as we ride on board with the back of these three. This is Houghton as they try to go past the car of Hideki Koivisto. He's going to stay to the inside line, let them the long way around. Poor Houghton's going to get the worst of that and drop off the back of Teemu.
Oh, no!
And Justin Albrecht with contact with Iskren Pondev.
Yeah, and now Pondev makes contact with Teemu Toika.
There's a pinball out there.
Boy, and that's
replay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Joe. Here's the replay, and he just turns in at the wrong time there.
Yeah, I did not expect the car to come, and then it's almost the exact same thing happened. Toika trying to go around the outside when he was trying to get back to the racing line. Toika's going to get a view of it and then get a piece of it here as we watch one more time.
Yeah. So nothing Toika did wrong there. He just ran out of track. Teemu got really lucky there, Joe.
And I can understand Iskren's, why he did what he did, because you're already shaken by one car coming through. Your mind is still on that, and then suddenly when you think, okay, back to the racing line, you forget, oh yeah, there's more cars coming.
Yeah,
so
and Albrecht,
to make.
For what it's worth, Albrecht picked up quite a bit of damage on that, Joe. The left side really hurt on that car. I wonder how much he's going to have left in him.
And do we have something happening with Ove? Oh, the lead.
No, Phil leaked Jamie Hall. Phil going to the front.
Where did this happen?
Phil continuing to move steady up through the field.
Degner 2, mistake off of that corner. Allowed Phil Lake to sneak through. Let's watch the replay. Hard to get the car woed up. Actually, did he cut the corner there on Degner 1? He chopped a lot off of there. Wonder if he had to slow down and just let him by. Interesting stuff.
It was close. It was definitely borderline, Joe. Now they've got Fabian Gerber coming up behind him here.
Ooh, what a place that Gerber does not want it. Wow, he lost a chunk of time coming through 130R.
And Albrecht's
held up there.
Albrecht's got the same problem.
Meanwhile, wow, Teemu absolutely sent it in from a mile back to try and gain some time on these guys. And you know what? It worked. Teemu was a ways behind, and now he is right on the tail of our top two. Wow, my goodness. Jamie Hall having to give way in turn one. Not fun in these Audis. There's both Teemu and Albrecht sneak through. Teemu gets held up coming into the S's. Now with Phil Lake having to cut them off so that he could take the racing line.
Houghton is just barreling through there.
Again, these are both of our leaders now meeting. So as the Eclipse works its way through, so far, so good. Right on board with Houghton, watching as he chases Toika. Oh, and it looks like we've had an issue with Clayton McLeod because he's in the pits. Again, this is not expected. Checking to see what exactly happened to Clayton. Ooh, he must have had something big because I see him off for a while. Oh, he had hard contact about a minute ago with Aki Karvinen.
I was trying to pick it up. I missed it, but our director has caught it. Here it is, Joe.
Yeah, it looks like Harvin had a car off track. Who was that in the Sim Sport car?
I think that was John Keefe, wasn't it, in the Sim Sport car?
It was the number 22. So, yeah, that's John Keefe. Oh, no. Corey Visto involved in that. That was a massive shunt.
Yeah, it was. Oh, man.
And
everybody
who
just
was that?
Everybody just kept barreling through there at full speed.
What a bizarre incident.
Hashtag ARCA brakes.
Well, Albrecht is able to continue on, but he's lost a big gap to Fabian Gerber now. It is now up to 2.5 seconds between first and second place. He's going to have some work to do. He has, however, got himself a little bit of space between himself and the final podium driver, Timu Toika. I haven't looked in on the GTO leaders for a while, though. That has stayed close together.
They're still fighting through it. Ben Laughter is now making his way through the top of the field here. And marginal passing at best. Laughter wants to get moving and get past him. He's coming up on Rob Olenek. Going to pass him clean. Caught him in a good spot there. And there are the leaders right in front of him.
Ooh, perfect timing. Threading the needle down into the first Degner. Going to have to whoa up here and split them through Degner 2. Then he's going to get an opportunity down into the braking of the hairpin. Oh, he's still denying the line. This is going to open it up as Jamie Hall takes a look on Phil Lake. Just not quite enough space for him to get a run through the corner, but off of it, look at him go.
Yeah, here we go.
They're going to get another one. Tobias Gerber sneaking through the inside. Man, Phil Lake is not catching a break this lap.
Now, of course, these are the Dirty Torque teammates fighting up front. You would think they're probably not going to try and wreck each other, but here comes Jamie Hall.
Down the straight, it's looking like he's has slightly less downforce because that top end certainly helped him around the outside of 130R. Give the lead to Jamie Hall. Brave stuff.
And Rob Olenek is probably the most patient driver on track right now, Joe. He's waiting for these two to mess it up. He hasn't shown much interest in trying to pass him at the moment.
He's got a bucket full of popcorn right now watching these two duke it out. Almost halfway through this race, so time's ticking away. If he's going to do something, he might have to want to do something in the next 10 minutes or so. Not let these guys get away from him. Meanwhile, in sixth position, got a bit of a fight between Emerton and Lepisto. Remember I said Emerton tends to race well? Man, from 10th to 6th, and he still has halfway to go. Lepisto doing the opposite. Remember, he had an incident early on with an almost spin out of the Degner curves, going from 3rd to 7th, so he's working his way forward. Looking to get the launch off of Spoon there, about even with one another, so not going to have an opportunity up to 130R, but maybe down into Casio. Let's see what this holds for them. Locking up the brakes slightly, but nice and tucked into the apex. Lepisto pushing hard, but can't do anything with it. Sean, I feel like we saw this a little bit in the Kamel GT 500, where a car could catch another one, but sometimes the wake just makes it hard to try and pass.
Just can't pull out and make that pass exactly. The dirty air upsetting the car just enough that you can't get the run, the desired run.
GTO leaders are at it again. Phil Lake has the nose ahead barely of Hall, and he gets it back through the Casio triangle.
They're toying with each other. They better not toy around too much. They're going to lose this race to Rob Olenek, Billy Riola, and Yoni Kaizen are still hot on their tail.
Gabriel Lanini's trying to split it as he sneaks through the inside, and then now they've got Mark Pickford. Oh, Lanini's off track. He's got to come back on safely. Oh, wow, that was a little bit of a hair raiser.
And there was actually a little bit of contact between Pickford and Jamie Hall, who's now getting overtaken by Rob Olenek. Oh, wow. Rob, he snuck in there.
I think I was elbows out. I think they made a little contact themselves. Olenek absolutely barreling his way through. Oh no! Hall getting the worst of it, and now another car spinning as Billy Rolla hits that Nissan. Klaus Peterson, a car on its lid maybe there. Kajanen and Riley Thompson.
Oh, Riley was having such a great run too. Darn it.
That's the second time, Sean, we've seen an almost chain reaction.
Well, exactly. It was a chain reaction. You see all the carnage that happens behind that.
Kajanen went for an absolute ride. And right on board Thompson, he came up to this last, sees the little contact there, a little smoke, thinks everything's over, and then suddenly, oh, he's the one that turned Kajanen over, it looks like. Well, that escalated quickly.
It did, Joe. Yeah, wow. Well, Phil Lake is definitely in charge now. Rob Olenek
so.
about 1.4 seconds behind him.
All right, well, that shuffled things up. Let's give you the order of the GTOs then. Lake is leading, as you said. Olenek in second. Ruola has been promoted to third, despite a little bit of contact there. Hall back to fourth. Somehow got away with everything. Trangarade now in fifth. Mukanos up to sixth. Thompson down to seventh. And Kajanen all the way into eighth after he takes a tumble. But still running somehow.
Yeah, Kajanen's car is really beat up, Joe. Certainly not getting around at speed. In fact, he's coming to the pits. Vioni's going to come in and I would think maybe try and get some repair and get back out. It's the first race of the season. Try and get some positive points out of this if you can.
Can we get to P6 of the prototypes? Because Lepisto is all over the back of Emerton. He was taken, looks up to Spoon. Looks like he lost a little bit of time, but he was inches away from that gearbox moments ago.
We got more trouble for Timu Toika. Got together with Richard Keogh. Oh, no. No, that's Timu's car is done.
And that started with Albertinelli.
Yes, you're right.
What happened
off
here?
at the bottom.
Oh, he got clipped by Michael Houghton. That was big netcode, though. Wow, that car was not even close.
Martinelli right there going for the spin. Man, I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy just watching him.
I've almost never seen wrecks like that on the entry to 130R, but now we've seen two big ones there.
Yep. Hey, first race jitters, Joe? Maybe?
Yeah, I'd say. We did say that we had a big field, a lot of new faces, so I think we're seeing a bit of that play out. But honestly, in terms of Kamel GT races, this is not the worst we've seen.
No, not at all. Not by any
long
stretch.
Shot, yeah. This is relatively calm if you're new to the Kamel GT series for these guys. Back in fifth, Emerton and Lepisto still battling it out. And they have been promoted. Remember, this was for 6 moments ago because Timu Toika did take it to pit lane for repairs. Oh, sad day for Fat Timu. I'm sure his fans are a little bit deflated.
Yes, they are, Joe. They are. They have been silenced.
And look at the damage on the left side, or is that the right side? The right side of Antti Lepisto. Probably also making it a little bit difficult to make this pass. He's been trying and trying. Thrustmaster machine taking little looks here and there. They're coming up to some traffic. This is Taylor Burris.
Taylor Burris, who's made up a lot of spots, Joe. He's in 14th right now. That Audi's been performing well today. He stayed out of trouble.
He stayed away from the pit wall. That's been the good thing.
Right, that's Achilles' heel, exactly.
Lets him through. Nice job by Taylor to let this battle go on as Antti took a look down into 2, but he was a little too late to try anything. Oh, whoa! Is that Koivisto? That is Karvinen. Karvinen having to get out of the way, almost gave an opportunity. Emerton lives to fight another day. I'm amazed that Lepisto's not been able to make anything stick yet. We go by the car of Dexter Castro. Strange seeing Dexter in something other than a BMW.
I heard Dexter complaining that the Nissan was overpowered. Just that's what I heard.
Dexter. Oh man, let's go to second in the Nissans because Justin Albrecht and Michael Houghton are fighting hard, and I think Houghton's got a really good run here. How brave is he? Are we going to go too wide through 130R? Don't have to. Houghton's got the momentum. He takes P2 away. Albrecht finding yet again, it is tough to find wins in this Kamel GT series. He's still going to be on the podium if he can hold off Artu Iamaki, who's another 2 seconds behind. But I think that damage is making it tough going. Meanwhile, Sean, GTO's still keeping us busy.
It is, Joe. Things are now starting to get really interesting with just under 8 laps left to go. Rob Olenek looked like he had second all wrapped up. Not so sure about that now. Villarola has found, he's found the rear end of that car, and guess who else has recovered? Jamie Hall is back in this thing with a chance to still get a podium here. Phil Lake, as long as he keeps the car on track, I think he's okay to win this, but this podium's certainly not settled yet. This is going to be an interesting to keep an eye on, interesting one to keep an eye on until the end.
Yeah, I'd say that Jamie Hall has some grit and determination and a stiff upper lip after having a bad result in Lotus 49. He's not given up on this one as he closes in on the back of Rola's yellow machine.
Yeah, and the leaders in the Nissans are on their way. They're just now coming down in the Spoon Curve. They just got out of it. So here we go, Joe. It's going to get exciting quick.
Yeah, that could certainly interrupt this fight. Fabian does have a 3.5 second lead, but he doesn't want to give up too much of that, remember. There's the West Racing machine. He's coming up behind the car of Cedric Poyle. This is one of our lappers. A little bit farther down the order, so he should be able to get out of the way easily. Onto the main straight they go. Meanwhile, our leaders in the GTO are coming to the end of that. Down into turn 1. Rolla getting closer and closer to that red dizzying machine of Rob Olenek. Oh, Lepisto finally got it.
Boy, I've been working on that forever, hadn't he, Joe?
And it was relatively uneventful for how hard Emerton fought to keep it. Took a look up the 130R. Wow, gosh, just dealing with that traffic. But that set him up with a nice chance there into the Casio chicane. And after a little bit of side-by-side, he peels away.
Well, the action's still hot on track, obviously.
Our leaders caught the GTOs.
Yep, Fabian's coming through now here.
Splits them momentarily. Rolla and Jamie Hall letting him slide in there for a moment. Oh, and he goes off
still
track.
off the grass.
Keeps in it, loses some time. Hall doesn't have a chance. Seems like that's always just the most precarious part, Sean, is coming up on a fast section and the car tends to drift out and the Nissan has to guess which way they're going to be given. Thankfully, everyone came out of that one unscathed. Now Jamie Hall still working on Villarola, has Houghton just behind. Oh, and look at the battle behind him. Is that for position? Yes, it is. Iamaki and Albrecht side by side. Everybody single file momentarily through the Casio chicane. Oh no, and another checkup. Albrecht gets rear-ended. And it looks like, for now, Iamaki's not going to be able to get by, but boy, that could have gone so much worse.
And now they're getting around Rolla, and Rolla, who's just trying to play his best job of awareness here.
Oh, and Albrecht has another off. Yep. Doesn't lose his spot yet again, but loses time. Oh, a bit of contact there between Iamaki and Rolla. Giving his countryman a side swipe. Rolla's just trying to live his best life, and he's letting him.
Well, he's hanging on to this podium, not by much. Jamie Hall's right there, but they both got the same problem. There's Lepisto.
Another mistake from Albrecht. And that did let Iamaki through. That was out of the Degner 2 corner. Just another case of a little bit of loss of traction with the turbo kicking in. You're going to see it right here. Oh, no, I take that back. The Buckeye actually clipped the curb. You see on the replay of Degner 1 and had to recover afterwards.
And we've got more craziness going on right now live. Albrecht just getting by Rob Olenek. Actually made contact. Rob Olenik's car was almost turned around, Joe. Olenek hangs on as now Emerton gets by him, but our leader in the GTOs almost wasn't our leader anymore. I'm sorry, Rob's not leading, but our second place driver wasn't second. Almost lost it there.
As we ride on board with Emerton, the side-by-side action ahead is thick and fast. Albrecht loses another one. Lepisto gets by. Now Emerton fancies his chances. With a good launch, he ducks to the inside, heading down the front stretch. And that top end speed of Albrecht looks absolutely horrid as he watches another one slip through his fingers. Albrecht, who is looking at a podium, is losing position after position. Ooh, and we had a car off there. That was Michael Jeans. So as we watch them continue on, Michael actually down in 18th position. I'd say that Suzuka is not Michael Jean's lover, unfortunately. Even our director hated that one.
Yeah.
Man, Fabian Gerber, despite having a few hairy moments, has been putting on a clinic today. It is a 6-second lead over the rest of the field in that number 4 machine. With about 6 minutes to go, just has to survive a little bit more of this traffic, only a few more cars ahead that I think he's going to catch. So really, it's, for the most part, clear sailing for the Blaupunkt machine.
Man, I still wish I had that Blaupunkt stereo I had back in like 1985.
Rolla's not giving up on Olenek here, and we know that Olenek has had some contact recently, so he might be dealing with some damage. He's got to let Tobias Gerber through. That puts him off the apex slightly and allows Rolla to gain even more tenths.
Yeah, you know, a few minutes ago, I didn't think Rolla was going to catch him, but all of a sudden, here's Villarola in the mirror of Rob Olenek with 4 laps to go. I'd say Billy got a great shot here to get one more spot out of this.
Wow.
Here we go.
Olenek is slow on the front stretch. Here comes the number 6 looking the long way around into turn 1, but that so rarely works in these cars. Behind them, Ben Laughter has to wait patiently, not wanting to interrupt this battle. He's got nobody near him. Oh, he sticks his nose in! Rolla gets punted around again.
And Billy cannot catch a break today.
Let's watch this from above. I kind of put this one on the Nissan. I think he could have waited a little longer.
I'm with you, Joe. I think he could have waited a little longer too. Now Billy finds himself in the middle of traffic. Ove Trengrade got around. And now Nick Bucanos is right in his mirror.
McConnell is about 6 seconds back.
I'm sorry, that was Michael Jeans who we just got by. Or is a lap car. My bad.
On screen, that's Albrecht fighting back. He must be listening to the broadcast and saying, I'm not dead yet, guys. Look at this. He's up to 4th. How did that happen? He was all the way down in 6th position. Looks like Emerton wants it back, though. And when did Lepisto get passed by both of these guys? Side by side. Oh, contact.
Hit check. Oh, and now Emerton gets touched there by Ante.
Kamel GT, ladies and gentlemen, is a contact sport. It is.
I'm wearing my helmet.
Very rough.
I'm wearing my helmet.
Rough racing out there. Look at this. Says, I'm taking this spot. I've got the apex. Thank you. And then he gets it served right back at him from Lepisto. And poor Albrecht is, if we come back live, he's off track. I think this was him. Yeah, this was just his own damage.
Yeah, he lost it.
Oh, he's very damaged. Look at how that car is crabbing. Man, a bad day for him, down to 6. And Gerber is going to look to demote him. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Lafter caught him, even though he's many seconds behind. Hey, Riley Thompson's got a little bit of a battle brewing on his hands. This is down in 6th in the GTOs. Mucanos reeling him in, wishing that Mark Pickford would get out of the way. There he goes.
Yeah, now remember, Riley had trouble earlier. He was involved in one of those incidents, Joe, and he's managed to hang on here just outside the top 5, but this traffic coming through might determine whether or not he's able to hold on to that spot.
I remember he made hard contact in his incident. Wow, just a ton. Man, it is a trade of Nissans streaming through.
Oh, and Riley's got to check up there.
That was Suarez.
I think he got into the back of Suarez, yeah.
A bit of a bump draft through the corner. Not really where you want it in Degner 1. So now Riley Thompson has some clear air ahead of him as that car missing the braking is Michael Jeans behind him. Only 2 minutes left to go on the clock. Time is running out for Mucanos to get that 6th spot away. Oh, Laughter with a big incident in Casio. The triangle claims another. This one braking way too late into the corner. You're going to see that tail whip around. So as we come back live, Fabian Gerber still your leader. And is this the white flag? Or are we 2 to go?
No, 2. Well, I've got white flag. I'm seeing white flag now.
It's going to be awful tight.
I guess not, yeah.
I think he'll get one more, because if he's close to the line, iRacing will give him one more lap to go.
Yeah, he can get one more here, Joe. My timing is going to switch back on me.
So watch him following the Audi of Reed Miller. Miller's just going to stay completely off track, let him through, doesn't want anything of this. Yeah, this is definitely going to be one lap to go.
Joe, I think Ove Trengrade is at risk of losing this spot here in 4th back here to Villaruola. Ruola, of course, trying to recover himself, but man, the gap has gone from what was about 1.5 seconds now down to half a second.
Yeah, Ruola's not ready to call it quits on this race yet. He's been beaten and banged. He's been shoved out of the way. What could have been a podium is not looking like it's going to be today for that yellow number 6, but he's seeing if he can maybe get himself just outside of those top 3 spots and demote Trengrade away from 4th.
You know, we could almost make a good country song out of the race that Villaruola's had today.
Wonder what Finnish country sounds like.
Hopefully better than Finnish folk music, which I've heard. So. Shot fired.
Shots fired,
Sorry.
yeah.
Send your emails to sean.ambrose.711@gmail.com. So
Meanwhile, we're watching our leader. He's still having to weave his way through traffic. His racing's not over yet. He's had some close moments here. He's got to get to the finish. Actually, boy, that lead came down. Wasn't it 6 seconds not long ago? It is now 1.5 seconds between himself and Houghton. What happened there? Is that just taking it easy?
I may be soft shoeing it here for the last few laps, but Houghton is right in the mirror. He's blinking at him. I'm here.
Never give up on the win. Fabian Gerber's not going to give up on it. All he has to do is hit the pedal smoothly out of the Casio triangle. Gerber started on pole. He's going to finish in first as well as he takes the win in round one. Meanwhile, Phil Lake.
Uh-oh. P2. I'm sorry, no, not P2, but P4. Barola gets around Ove Trentgrade. Not yet. Ove pulling around to the outside. He's fighting him here, Joe.
Too wide into Degner 1 is a tough ass. Oh, a little bit of contact. This time, Rolla holds on to it. He's used to getting touched like that, and it looks like he's got it done.
Does anyone really get used to being touched like that, Joe?
I think so. In this case, he's put on some elbow pads. He's got some knee pads on. I'd say that Billy Roll is padded up and ready to take on all comers. Meanwhile, Phil Lake is coming up to 130R. He didn't have this lead the whole race through. He had a hell of a battle with his teammate. He had to fend off Rob Olenek. He had to deal with all the lap traffic of the Nissans. But he's a survivor. Philip Lake is going to take the win in round one. He's made up for a bad race in the Lotus 49s. How about this for the UK&I driver winning in Japan? And already I'm seeing in the chat some apologies to Rolla. Ben Laughter getting on there immediately and typing in a huge "I'm sorry."
Yeah. Well, listen, it's the first race of the season. We had a huge field, 44 cars. Finishing this race is probably a bigger victory than not finishing it at this point. What an event today.
So as the cars finish up and we get ready to take a break here on the Global Sim Racing channel, stick around because on screen you're going to see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC. And after that, we're going to get the official results as well as driver interviews. So don't go away. Well, the sun now sets on the first race of the season here in the land of the rising sun. And in the end, here on the iRacing Esports Network, Fabian Gerber found himself with the win. It was actually pretty close at the line, even though he was stretching away for most of the race. Houghton ran him down to within a second. We think that maybe Fabian was just easing back to make sure he brought it home safely. Ardo Iamaki is going to take third in the GTP class, and then just outside of there, Antti Lepisto trying to climb his way forward. Came shy of the champagne. Luis Emerton continuing to prove he knows how to run these cars when it comes to running in a pack. He finishes in the top 5. Justin Albrecht running a little bit true to form here, just even though he started on the front row, only manages to get 6th. Tobias Gerber, the brother of our winner, finishes 7th. Ben Laughter takes in 8th place with Mark Pickford, managing a 9th despite some big moments there. Pablo Suarez gets a top 10. David Miller finishes in 11th with Gabriel Lenini 12th. Matthias Guldagger 13th. Dave Peterson 14th. And Johnny Bell, the last of our finishing GTP cars, in 15th. Sean?
All right, Joe, and it's going to be Phil in and around the lake with a great way to start the season, a win. Rob Olenek hangs on for second. Jamie Hall in the third place run. He rounds out our podium today. Billy Rolla, the fourth place finish. Ove Trengerade in 5th. Riley Thompson going to bring it home in 6th. A lot of these guys had bad luck today, but they still managed top 10 runs. Nick Mukanos in 7th. Matthew Jette will finish 8th today in class. Iskren Pondiv, I tell you what, not a bad debut for him. He does manage 9th. Milan Arnozzi, who got in trouble early, he squeaks out there in 10th. Reed Miller, 11th place for him. Dexter Castro gets up to 12th there at the end. Dexter continued to move through the field and stayed out of trouble, Joe. Aki Karvinen, he'll finish 13th. Trevor Snyder, 14th for him. His teammate Taylor Burris right behind him there in 15th. Richard Kehoe, he's going to bring it home in, in 16th in class there. There's Richard. Josh Lambert, 17th right behind him. 18th from Michael Jeans. And then you've got Klaus Peterson there, who winds up finishing 34th overall. Team Mutoika, of course, heavy damage for him. That puts him down at 35th. When we get back to the GTOs, is Joni Kajanen with a disappointing run for him. Obviously, he got involved in some big trouble. He'll finish 19th today in the Audis. Michael Haynes, a 20th place finish for him. Andrea Albertinelli, Albertinelli will finish 21st. I don't know why I'm struggling with that. Cedric Poyle, he will finish 22nd in class today. And then just the back of the field here, Mike Kopak, obviously trouble for him early. That puts him 37th overall. Hideki Koivito, Clayton McLeod, John Keefe, Hideki, and Michelle DeYoung round out the entire 44-car field today, Joe. But we got a lot of people that want to talk to us.
First up, we're going to start with our winner, the obvious one to begin. Fabian Gerber taking the win. Fabian, it seemed like you had the pace for much of the race. You were pulling a nice little gap, and then in the last moments, it closed down. Was that just you backing off to make sure you take it home?
Yeah, more or less, yes. I was very worried in traffic, so I was very careful and checking the gap to Michael. And in the last lap, I almost lost it. It was, I guess, a misunderstanding. It was close and I was stressed, but I'm really exhausted, to be honest. But I still take it. This win was great.
Well, it's no wonder you're exhausted. You have a lot more cars out there. How do you feel about the upped number of the split with us having a whole 44 cars out there? Was it fun for you, or do you miss the smaller fields?
No, there's more action in the bigger fields. Of course, it's easier with less cars, but we have races like on Sunday evening where there's less cars, so I can enjoy it then. And with the big races here, it's great. It's more fun. It's more action. Enjoyable.
So off of one championship, straight into a win. It seems like you're still on good form. How are you feeling coming into this season?
I look forward to it. I got confidence in qualifying since I beat Antti and Arto, Justin. I don't consider myself to be the best qualifier, so that gave me some confidence that I'm still capable of winning races. That it's a very good start to the season.
Absolutely. Well, again, congratulations on the win. Go enjoy some champagne, and we'll see you in a week.
Thank you very much. See you in a week. Bye, guys.
That's Fabian Gerber, our first place finisher in the GTP class. Up next, I believe, Sean, you've caught up with our winner over in the GTOs.
Yeah. Phil, in and around the lake, down there celebrating. Big win. Great way to start the season, Phil.
Yeah, really good way to start the season. That was a lot of fun.
Fun or a lot of work? One or the other. Maybe you enjoy work and you have fun doing work. Man, when the traffic came through, that was just madness, man.
Yeah, that is all part of Kamel, as you know, in my opinion. I think that is part of the fun, is dealing with the traffic. And Suzuka is particularly difficult with the S's, because we always say, you know, don't steal the exit from the Audi, or don't steal the apex at the last second. But in the S's, you kind of have to do one of those things. So it does make it difficult.
Well, you had a great battle going with your teammate there for a while. You two looked like you were having a lot of fun together on track, and then of course it got broken up by the traffic we were just talking about. Is that the goal going in every week? Is you two try and stay on track as close to each other as possible? Is there safety in numbers? I guess that's what I'm getting at.
No, there's no game plan. We're just all trying to beat each other, trying as hard as we can to beat each other every week.
Right. Try as hard to beat each other without wrecking each other, right?
Well, yeah. But you know, we're not holding back. We're not holding back.
Okay. Well, listen, you staked yourself off to a good start here with a win. Next week it gets a little bit tougher, but I don't know. Your speed looked good. It looks like you're ready for the season, Phil.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about this one. I'm hoping to do really well on the championship.
All right. Well, hey, we wish you the best. We'll see you again next week, and hopefully we get a chance to talk to you again, my friend.
Yeah, see you there. Thanks, guys.
All right, and our thanks to Phil Lake, and incredible drive by him today. And Joe has caught up with another one of our big finishers here.
Yeah, second place podium finisher for the driver in the number 5, Michael Houghton. You started P4 there on the second row. It seemed like there was quite a bit of shuffling around of those top positions in the GTP class, and somehow you came away just behind Fabian.
Man, that start was crazy. I was just looking to go through the first few corners without getting wrecked or wrecking anybody. And once we were in the clear, I just put my head down, and I don't know how. I was thinking this throughout the race. I don't know how many times I licked it and sent it, but they should call me the postman.
I like that. So at the end of the race, it was a 1 second gap, but it wasn't that way for most of the race. So we talked to Fabian about it. He said he was backing off, but obviously you have no idea what exactly is going on being over in your car. So coming down to 130R, you see him up ahead. We actually saw you flashing your lights. What was going through your head?
I was just trying to tell him I'm here, and trying to get into his head, mind games.
That's what I thought too, Joe.
Well, it certainly gave us a little bit of a giggle. So we talked to Fabian a little bit as well about the larger field. How did you feel about it? Do you think the newcomers behaved pretty well, or do you think they have some stuff to learn about the way these two cars interact?
It's been pretty well overall. I did have a few situations where the Audis weren't looking in the rearview mirrors or their door mirrors, so that was a little scary at times. But that comes with experience. Get a few more races in there, and they'll get it.
I don't doubt it. Well, congratulations on a second place, and hope to see you next week.
All right. Yeehaw!
All right. Another Texan coming through. That's Michael Houghton, second place finisher. We have one last one to talk to, another GTP driver who had a pretty good day, I'd say, with the top 5. Luis Emerton has caught up with Sean.
Yeah, well, Luis, you started 10th. Did you pick up 5 spots to finish in the top 5? How tough was it actually getting up to 5th?
Oh, it was... Well, that was a marathon from start to finish. That was crazy fun. And then having Antti right on my tail for most of that race was, it went by very quickly. It was not easy.
It's really never much fun having Auntie in your mirror, is it?
No, absolutely
No.
not. Oh God, he didn't look happy to be behind me.
I don't think he's going to walk away from this race to being very happy anyway. I don't think there's anything you could have been done about that, Luis. But hey, you do stake yourself to a great start on the season with a 5th place finish. You looking for a big season, maybe a championship this time?
Oh, I'd love to. I mean, I did better this week than I expected because although I like Suzuka, there's a few corners on it, but I just don't know where I stand with them. So we've got a really cool schedule this year with some great tracks. I'm just looking forward to racing with some big grids again.
Yeah, and with iRacing giving us a little bit of help on the split, you're going to see big grids all season. I think you guys are riding the wave from the Kamel GT 500, and expect there to be 40 plus cars every week. That being said, what's the plan for next week?
Practice a lot. I've never driven Zolder before yesterday when I did a couple of laps. All I know of Zolder is some old touring car footage I've seen on YouTube, so that's going to be a fun experience learning that track.
All right. Well, hey, listen, we wish you the best there at Zolder next week, and hopefully a win to even get you maybe on top of the points out of week 2. So congratulations again on a great run today, and we'll see you next week, buddy.
Thanks, guys. See you in a bit.
That was Luis Emberton, 5th place finisher in the GTPs. And if he hasn't driven Zolder before, then, well, I hope he likes chicanes because you're going to get a lot of them in that race. We're going to close up here today on the iRacing Esports Network. Again, a big thanks to iRacing to bringing this series on there. And a big thanks to the Kamel GT community for organizing, yet again, bringing GSRC back to cover this series. Boy, we have a blast week in and week out with these guys. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Amjad, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Gram. Don't forget, if you head on over to our YouTube page, as well as this one here, the iRacing Esports Network, if you hit the big red subscribe button, you won't miss a moment here on the GSRC. The next race, as was mentioned, we're going over to Belgium for Zolder, and that'll be Saturday, September 22nd, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.